Ok. The Dwarves, the Dwarves. Bom, então vamos lá, gente, que a gente tem que jogar essa bagaceira do começo de novo, porque eu perdi meu vídeo lá da Twitch, né? Então nós vamos jogar aqui o jogo The Dwarves, né? Um jogo que é um pouco minha cara, você sabe que eu gosto pouco de anão nesse canal, né? Afinal, a foto de perfil é um anão, o banner do canal tem anão, o Discord é baseado em anão. Então vamos lá, campanha. Espero que não trave, igual eu tava travando na Twitch, mais um motivo pra eu ter que rejogar, né? Tava chato as travadas.
Fracas made us from stone to protect Girdlegard. Against orcs, ogres, and all the other beasts of Tion. We are the guardians of Girdlegard. We are the children of the divine smith. We are the Dwarves.
Vamos dar ali. Tá bom saber que não tá travando aparentemente as cutscenes. Eu não sei se vai aparecer muita gente pra assistir hoje, né? Porque tá tarde já, mas eu cheguei da faculdade quase agora, gente. Então. Peraí que eu só tô respondendo os zip-zaps aqui, gente, enquanto vocês chegam. Ok, agora podemos. Pausa o jogo, qualquer momento pressione a barra de espaço, mova a câmera usando o botão central do mouse e o botão de rolamento do mouse. Clique em salto de ataque na parte inferior da tela ou pressione E para selecionar seu alvo no campo de batalha. Hell yeah, man! Here we are! Let's kill some orcs! Como é que virava a câmera? Eu não lembro. Ah, sim. Tem muito mais essa câmera. Ih, rapaz, quase que eu caí da ponte aqui. Vamos lá, Barba Longa. Será que vocês são Barba Longa e os anões? Porque esse jogo não é no universo Warhammer. Então, vamos lá. E se eu não morrer? Me dê o presente. Bateu o boi, clique sobre nele e assim que o símbolo usar aparecer já com as granadas pode ser, digamos, criativo. Põe até o baú.
pass on this present to the greenskins.
Agora não tem bomba. Top. Pele verde, mano. A praga. Come here, you. Cada habilidade especial custa pontos de ação PA, são os pontos azuis abaixo da barra de saúde. Vocês ganham com o passar do tempo e por abates. Ok? Daqui a pouco, você pode morrer também.
My king! What are you doing here?
Giselbert I, the father of the Fifthling clan, has not been on the front line of battle against the creatures of Tion for many cycles. The king surveys the battlefield and the defenders with a grave expression.
We are too few.
This you know as well as he does. But there will be no reinforcements arriving. Hundreds of brave warriors lie inside the fortress dying. The illness is running rampant. It brings weakness and death.
Stay at your posts. Be as steadfast as the granite of which we are made. Nothing can break us. Vrakas is with us.
Alterne de personagem na parte inferior esquerda da tela ou pressionando o Tab. Selecione mais de um pressionando Shift, botão esquerdo do mouse ou clicando e arrastando um retângulo ao redor deles. Vamos eliminar ogros. Quem são esses caras que tá vindo aí? Tem uma puladinha aí. Olha eles pra fora lá, velho. Eu vou correr, velho. É muito mais filão. Bufa geral. Vou bater nesse ogro. Bufa galera. Pode bater no cara aqui, velho. Deixa eu ver como é que tá aqui o som do jogo, porque tenho medo de vocês não estarem nem me ouvindo. Não, aí ficou muito baixo, né? Calma aí. Não tem um meio termo, é só tipo de 20 em 20? Poxa. Queria tipo 30, 30 tá perfeito. A música pode deixar 20, o restante eu vou deixar 40. Voa lá, Grube fedido. Quando o jogo estiver pausado, barra de espaço, você pode dar ordem para vários heróis seguidamente, as quais serão executadas simultaneamente assim que o jogo for reiniciado. Ok. Agora tem que destruir as catapultas. Vai lá embaixo, vai. Não foi. Bora lá, rei. Um buff na galera aí. Vamos dar, mata esse cara pra gente ganhar as probabilidades. Tira pra outra lá. Tô batendo nela aí. Tá difícil chegar aí.
For fracas! Come here and die! Be off with you! It will be so!
Tá difícil chegar aqui pelo menos.
Hammer time!
Por que não pegou? Ele até bugou, pra nem conseguir bater na catapulta.
These are the ones who attacked us in the tunnels. We suffered great losses beating them back.
Come here and I'll split you like a straw, you treacherous elf!
In his fury, the old king radiates a ferocious power that none of Citalia's children could withstand. But the slight, willowy being sitting astride the shadow mare just grins down, mockingly.
You are mistaken. We are Alpha. We are here to destroy the elves.
All peace-loving beings here in Girdlegard are under our protection, and you cannot open the gate that has barred your path into Girdlegard since the creation of the world.
Not us, but perhaps one of your kind.
This cannot be. Silence, you fool! Vrakas, forgive me for what I am about to do.
Quickly! In formation! You must hold them back until I close the gate!
Elfos sendo elfos, não é mesmo?
On my way!
Elfos só serve pra atrapalhar e traianar. Do nada, viu todo mundo, eu tinha desistido. Acabou mesmo. Teve de flash que o rei tomou nas costas, mano. Tadinho. Ele tá dando mole aí, meu querido. Poxa.
Look at me. I am Sintheras, the reaper of your death. I will take your life, and the land will take your soul.
Get out of my sight, pointy ears, and let me delight at the closed gate a little longer.
The gate may have closed, but when you rise again from the dead by the power of the land, you will be one of us, and you will open it.
Never! My soul belongs to Vrakas.
No. Your soul now belongs to the land, and henceforth you will belong to it forever. Now die, and return. Then hand us Girdlegard.
Morreu.
You're a perfectionist, Tungdil Bolafar.
I've got a reputation to uphold. If you can't rely on the metalwork of a dwarf, What can you rely on?
Opa, o que posso fazer por você
What
hoje?
can I do for you?
For me, nothing. It's Lot Yonan. He wants to see you in his study.
In your mind, you go through all the recent incidents that might have annoyed the Magus. Apart from a few little squabbles with his famuli, nothing worth mentioning happened since the incident with your beard. You nod.
Okay.
Eu tô vendo aqui o negócio na minha configuração da Twitch, ou da Twitch não, do programa que eu uso pra fazer aqui a transmissão, porque ele tá falando que eu tô transmitindo um quadro chaves errados. Só que aqui não tá nada falando. Eu acho que é isso aqui, deixa eu ver, aplicar. Talvez resolva, eu não sei. Eu tentei resolver isso aí, eu achei que tinha resolvido, mas aparentemente não resolveu. Sei lá.
You look dreadful.
What a charmer.
The maid gives you an ironic, reprimanding scowl.
Ikana has been crying half the night.
When you were teething, I carried you around the vaults. You played with my beard and I sang you to sleep.
Frala smiles. She's heard this story many times before.
That was 23 cycles ago. I'm quite sure you didn't sing. You might have grumbled a bit.
If what you've read about the dwarven lifespan is true, it'll be another 300 sun cycles and more before you are called to the Eternal Forge. The certainty of one day having to witness Frala's death already burdens your heart.
I better not keep the Magus waiting.
See you later. There's goulash for dinner.
Aí sim. Que foi isso, mano?
Everything you know about dwarves you learnt from books. The divine smith created the dwarves, and from time to time you make him an offering of some crumbs of gold. It's the most valuable thing you have to offer Vrakas. You've worked a bit more on Sunya's birthday present last night. The little one is crazy about horses. You, on the other hand, prefer to keep your distance, unless you're fitting them with hooves. Too many legs, and way too big. There was a time when you could hardly lift the heavy hammer. Now you barely notice it anymore, and it feels like an extension of your arm. Smithing is in your blood. This is where you swung the forge hammer for the first time 30 cycles ago. No one taught you the craft. It was enough for you to watch Lot Yonan's old smith at work. Whenever the workshop was empty, you practiced and quickly mastered the craft with ease.
O que eu gosto bastante desse jogo é que eu me sinto jogando RPG de mesa, jogando com um anão que tá level 1,
There are apparently dwarves who have never seen the sky. And you too feel more comfortable when you have rock over your head. If only you didn't long to see more of the world, a longing that grows stronger with every year.
Hey, groundling! Come to the kitchen, we need you.
Jolison, a 4th degree famulus and your favorite foe among the students of magic, gives you a disparaging glance and disappears without waiting for your reply.
Vamos ver o que esse chato quer.
Tangdale! Quick! Or the goulash will get burnt!
You immediately recognize what the problem is. A chain running over a pulley for positioning the cauldron is detached from its mounting, and the cauldron stuck in the fireplace. It's a heavy load, and none of the famuli, who feel superior even during kitchen duty, dare do anything. They might burn their fingers, or even get a bit dirty. Vegetables, bread, cheese, but the cook is not to be trifled with. Many painful knuckles have taught you that she knows how to handle her heavy wooden spoon, and that she may possibly have eyes in the back of her head.
Vamos ver qual é da parada.
It'd be a waste of goulash. And I'm hungry. Here, hold this. Do you remember when you dyed my beard with some magic spell? I had to shave it off.
You stroke your beard. which is unusually short for a dwarf.
Damn it! Ah, it's heavy.
The young human forces through his pursed lips, letting the pot sink a little.
Don't you dare ruin my goulash, boy!
The cook with beefy forearms glares at the young man, and after a brief moment, he tries harder. With as much concern in your voice as you can muster, you say,
Oh, no, this doesn't look good.
You're pleased to notice he's dripping with sweat.
I'll get you back for this, groundling!
Esse anão, ele parece o anão do Dragon Age.
You damned freak!
For a moment, you hope the famulus really does raise his hand to you. But then he comes to his senses and leaves the kitchen, his face bright red.
What a pair you are!
The beer that is delivered to the vaults is supposed to be the best beer in Idderslane. It's certainly your favorite beer. But you haven't drunk enough other beers to truly know.
Bom, eu não bebi nenhuma, então também não sou um bom jogador.
Do you know what Lord Yonan wants?
The maid gives you an amused look. She has often accused you of making things more complicated than necessary.
Eu preciso achar a sala do mago lá. Vou furtar um pouco de comida aqui, né, velho? Só tem duas ali. Ninguém viu nada, já dei no pé. Ih, velho, onde que é a sala desse cara? Aqui, escritório. Indica alguns ataques podem atordoar os inimigos. Se você atacar o inimigo atordoado, não dá tempo de ler. As dicas passam muito rápido.
Master Lord Yonan, Frala told me you wished to speak with me.
Ah, Tungdil, come in. There is a bag over there in the cupboard. Take it out, please. It contains artifacts belonging to my former famulus Goren. I wish to return them to him. He's in Black Saddle, 300 miles away.
300 miles? That's a long journey. Who are you going to entrust with this?
I was thinking of you.
Me?
There is no one better to take on this journey. You have acquired much knowledge. You are almost a scholar. You know more than most famuli about Girdlegard and its inhabitants. It is time for you to go out into the world and see it with your own eyes.
With pleasure.
Talvez eu vou partir logo.
Be on your guard. Look after the bag and don't lose it. May Palandiel be with you. And Vrakas too, of course.
I'll set off immediately. I'll see you soon, Lord Yonan.
Agora que o menino tem que falar com a mulher que vai pegar suprimentos, né? A Frala.
Hello, Frala.
Hmm?
Preciso de provisões para 300 km.
I need provisions for 300 miles.
You're grinning from ear to ear. Finally, you've got the chance to see something of the world.
300? Tungdil, that's no errand. That's an epic journey. Wait, I've got just the right thing. But make sure the cook doesn't see.
I'm going to Black Saddle to return a few things to a former apprentice in the Magus.
You pocket the rye bread, sausages, and ham. Enough food for the first few days of your journey.
Talvez eu encontre alguns
Perhaps
anões.
I'll even meet some dwarves on the way.
Frala throws you a cautious glance. It's a tricky subject that you can't help but broach.
There aren't dwarves down here. You're the only one in Idderslane as far as we
That's
know.
I know, but I can't just have been born out of a rock. Somewhere in the mountains, I have a clan. Maybe even a family.
Yes. Maybe.
Frala has reminded you more than once that Lot Yonan wrote to the dwarf clans and none of them were missing a dwarf boy.
Que desgraçado, então
I
vamos
have to
embora.
go.
Mano.
I've got a long
Não
journey
merece
ahead
nem
of me.
ganhar presente. Fica me lembrando dos meus traumas passados de vida aí, mano.
I wish you the blessing of Palandial and Vrakas to protect you from all danger in your journey. Here, a talisman. Whenever you look at it, think of me.
Frala winks at you mischievously.
And of getting me a nice present.
Tá bom. Sim, você nem merece esse presente, né? Mas ok. Como é que é o meu inventário? Uma recordação de Frala traz boa sorte a quem usa. Eu quero usar então. O que eu uso? Eu não consigo usar. Eu ganhei 19 dias de provisão ali. Muito bolado com essas configurações do YouTube. Não faz sentido.
How nice to see
Chegou
you
o Nergo aí.
again, Lotyonen. It must have been an age since we last met face to face.
Nudin, welcome. Please, sit down.
No, thank you, my friend. These are urgent matters, and I don't have much time. You must come to Leos Nudin immediately. The perished land is stirring.
Are you sure? What makes you think that?
I found out about 60 orbits ago, during a visit to the borders. Our magical barriers have weakened and become porous. The Elfar have left their land, and a huge horde of orcs have marched into Girdlegard.
Were you able to strengthen the spell with your magic?
No. I can't repair the damage alone. We need the combined power of the 6. The other 4 are already on their way here, but we need your help too.
I will set off for Parista without delay.
Oh, and as you're coming, could you also take the opportunity to bring back the things that I lent to you?
Of course. I have them already packed in a bag.
Oh, thank you. We'll be expecting you.
Ô, bichinho lindo esse cara, hein? O cachorro dando oi pra vocês aí, quase 1 da manhã. Tem um período pra fazer like e não tem a cachorro ou caminhão, velho. Não tem como. Mas pelo visto muita gente já foi
Blinded
dormir.
by the sunlight, you squeeze your eyes tightly shut after only a few steps. The time spent underground has made you so sensitive to light that you're forced to seek shelter in the shade of a mighty oak.
Tá, a gente vai ter que vir pra cá fazer a missão. Será negra. Eu vou passar por esse ponto de interrogação aqui, se possível por essa vila aqui. Vamos ver o que a gente encontra de interessante lá. Então aqui é o mapa do jogo, né? Eu já tô falando isso porque eu joguei até essa parte, mais ou menos. Aqui é ótimo, né, velho? Sensacional. Enfim. Aí, cada vez que você clica uma bolinha vai acontecer alguma coisa. Quase certeza, né? Você tem que tomar decisões da melhor forma possível para não morrer e tentar ganhar alguma coisa com isso. Então, ó, por exemplo...
You reach a small lake by a birchwood. Your feet hurt and your eyes still sting in the unaccustomed sunlight. But a smile spreads across your face nonetheless. You've covered a decent distance on the first day of your big journey. You pitch your camp and lie down to sleep on the hard forest floor. When you awake in the morning, your legs are stiff and achy. Trying not to feel sorry for yourself, you throw your rucksack over your shoulder. You're a dwarf, and dwarves don't complain.
Isso aí. Lembrando que cada bolinha que eu clicar aqui a gente vai perder 1 de provisão, então a gente tem que tomar muito cuidado para chegar aqui com provisão, né? Porque senão a gente morre. Vem pra cá agora. Aí não aconteceu nada.
Around midday, with the sun high in the sky and the first beads of sweat appearing on your forehead, you see something move next to the road, a few hundred meters ahead. Some crows are pecking at something in the long grass.
Caminhe mais pela estrada até conseguir compreender melhor. Sai da estrada, se aproxime, fique imóvel e observe. Não, vamos caminhar mais pela estrada até conseguir compreender melhor.
When you see the blood on the ground, you try to convince yourself it's from an animal that just happened to be killed on the road by a hunter. You know this is improbable. and your hope disappears completely when you see 2 human bodies lying in the flattened grass.
Aí, se dependendo do evento, a gente entra na região do mapa que a gente observou para tentar ver o que está acontecendo, né? Eu acho uma mecânica bem legal, eu nunca tinha jogado uma coisa do tipo. Então, ó, aqui a gente vai poder explorar tudo que a gente viu no texto lá, né? Então, por exemplo, vamos examinar o arbusto.
Nothing.
Nada, beleza. Tá aí, temos o corpo aqui também. Vamos pro corpo.
A slender man lies in front of you, dressed in an expensive robe. It is in the colors of Turgur the Fair-Faced, one of the 6 Magi. The dead man must be one of Turgur's famuli. You don't see any wounds.
Vamos virar o corpo, ver se a gente acha mais alguma coisa.
By Vracus.
There are some narrow stab wounds in the man's chest. The cuts are too big to have been made by arrows, but too small for sword wounds.
Aí não tem mais nada para olhar pelo corpo, então a gente segue. Procure pistas.
You don't see any signs of a struggle in the area where the corpses are lying. Were they stabbed by a companion? A stranger could hardly have crept up on them with such sparse cover.
Pera aí, rapidão. Ué, pera aí, estão falando que a live não tá aparecendo? Ah, é óbvio, né? Tem certeza. Ah, já achei. Achei já. Ah, agora sim arrumou. É. Agora tá tudo explicado. E aí, João?
You look down on a tall, broadly built man.
E aí,
He's
Dorgado?
wearing dark
Eu
brown
tinha deixado a
leather
live
armor
como
that is
privada, velho. Nem
strengthened
tinha
with iron
visto.
plates. There's a sword lying next to him. Was he trying to defend himself against something? Or someone? There is no blood on the sword.
Que eu tinha feito uma live privada pra tentar arrumar esse bug da configuração do YouTube.
It's clear that both
Mas
men were
não
killed by
consegui.
the same
Então,
weapon. But what that weapon might be, you cannot say.
eu queria ver se consegui resolver essa parte agora, porque da última vez que eu fiz isso aqui eu não consegui.
Nothing again.
You halt. There is something.
A rucksack. Did someone hide it in the bushes, or was it thrown in there?
Vasculhei a mochila.
You open the rucksack and recognize that someone has already rummaged through it. As well
Sim, eu
as
sou
some
gênio,
implements
obrigado.
and writing utensils, you find a pouch full of gold and a talisman. The gold is proof that this is not a case of robbery.
Pegue o ouro, vamos pegar o talismã.
Warmth and a feeling of security flush through your body as you touch the talisman. You feel safer just holding it in your hand.
I'm taking you with me.
Pega o ouro. Já morreu, não precisa mais, né? Aqui tem alguma coisa? Aparentemente não. Aqui também não. Já examinei o corpo aqui. Aqui não tem nada. Tem a outra mochila aqui. Aqui embaixo. Opa! Ah, aqui vai prosseguir a viagem. Então vamos examinar a outra mochila.
A rucksack that probably belonged to one of the dead. It seems to have been searched and then thrown away
E
carelessly.
aí, Games Gel. Vasculhei a mochila.
You find a few implements, some provisions, and a map. A route is drawn on it from Parista, Nudin's capital, to Lot Yonan's vaults.
Does this mean that Turga the Fair-Faced is in Parista and wanted to send Lotyonen a message? And if so, why didn't he use magic? Did he want to contact him without anyone noticing? Why all this secrecy?
O que mais tem na bolsa aí? Nada? Peguei provisão, tá ótimo. O João roubou pão na casa do João. Aí, velho, nem tô comendo pão, mano.
You scour the area once more and ask yourself what to do next.
Enterra os mortos e prossiga sua viagem. Prossiga a viagem. Enterrar os mortos e prosseguir a viagem.
It's time-consuming and strenuous work digging shallow graves in the ground with a stick and covering the corpses with a few stones. But it should at least keep the crows from their feasting for a while. You continue on your way so as to put a few more miles between you and your grisly find before night falls.
Vamos para aquela cidade aqui.
As the gable end of a small farmhouse and a barn appear from behind a hilltop, you hear the loud cries of children at play. A girl runs along the path laughing, followed by a small boy with a big stick in his hand. The boy is trying to catch up his sister with a determined look on his face, but is finding it difficult to keep his short legs under control on the uneven path.
Fique onde está e veja o que acontece. Caminhe até as crianças, cumprimente-as amigavelmente, afaste-se da fazenda e prossiga sua viagem. Vamos se afastar. Peraí. Vamos se afastar da fazenda e prosseguir viagem. Não quero perseguir criança, não. Vamos para esse ponto de interrogação aqui. Aqui.
You see a flickering light through the trees some way from the path. It might come from a campfire.
Aproxime-se da fogueira em alta voz para não mostrar a ninguém. Se aproxime silenciosamente, descubra quem acende a fogueira, ignore a fogueira e prossiga sua viagem. Vamos se aproximar silenciosamente e descobrir quem acendeu.
You creep through the undergrowth towards the fire, but can't prevent your armor from clattering and small twigs from breaking under every heavy step you take. You curse quietly to yourself, but go on until you can see what's going on. 3 broad-shouldered men with axes sit at a campfire, on which 2 rabbits are sizzling. It's only thanks to the fact that the men are joking loudly with one another and not paying attention to their surroundings that they haven't discovered you yet.
Aproxime-se dos homens, fale com eles, tente se aproximar dos homens do espione, volte para a estrada e prossiga sua viagem. Se eu me aproximar para espionar com minha armadura fazendo barulho, não vai dar certo. Então vamos se aproximar e falar com eles.
Once you reach the edge of the firelight, you say amicably,
Greetings. My name is...
The men jump up and grab their axes.
Who's there?
Well, I'll be. Is that a groundling?
The men look you over suspiciously.
Desculpa ter omissão, a quem devo a honra, eu sou um viajante, só gostaria de um pouco de companhia ao redor de uma fogueira, baixe suas armas pra gente conversar.
My name is Tungdil. May I know with whom I have the pleasure?
Os caras riam
A
bastante, mano.
perfect stranger, a groundling speaking like a king. We are woodcutters. Talk our language, or better still, get lost.
I only wanted to be polite.
Sod your politeness and your pretty words, groundling, and be off with you.
The man strengthens his grip on the axe and glares at you with sinister yellow eyes.
Se eu tenho uma pergunta, tudo bem, eu vou embora, não sou bem-vindo aqui. Abaixe suas armas, serei obrigado a usar a minha. Vamos dar uma ameaçada
down
neles.
your weapons or I'll be forced to use mine.
You threatening us, groundling?
Esse beço, não, eu não uso meu machado para cortar árvores.
Now consider this. I am a dwarf with an axe, and I don't use my axe for cutting down trees.
The men are visibly unsettled and lower their axes a little.
Foi o que imaginei.
I thought so.
You turn your back on the men and walk back to the path confidently. You don't hear any steps behind you, and only once you've put distance between you do you dare look back over your shoulder. None of the men have followed you. You sigh with relief.
Ganhar uma conquista.
It could have ended up a very painful experience if you'd provoked the men or shown them any weakness.
Na primeira vez que eu joguei isso aqui, eu fiz cocó e eles me deixaram do cacete. Tá, vamos vir pra cá.
You look down on a large village on the banks of the Warder. Some of the village is built on stilts in the river. A wooden bridge spans the fast-flowing water. A huge wooden palisade has been erected to protect the village from attack.
Siga a estrada até o portão e investiga o outro lado do rio. Vamos investigar o outro lado do
Your
rio.
eyes roam the land on the other side of the river. You estimate that you will soon have completed half of the journey to Blacksaddle, but you still can't make out the mountain on the horizon. The guards on the palisade are watching you. Their armor looks well cared for and well made. The smith who made them knew what he was doing. You conclude that the men depend on the protection the armor offers and aren't just wearing them to look good. They're certainly not villagers.
Esse jogo é um RPG, basicamente. Tem batalha sim. Daqui a pouco vai aparecer uma. No momento estamos chegando ao ponto da missão, mas tem batalha.
The double gate is made of strong planks, sturdy but still much less solid than the fixed parts of the palisade. Security has been forgone here for practical reasons. Never a good idea when building fortifications. The double gate is made of strong planks.
Pois, eu já falei.
Some of the guards begin to whisper as you near the gate.
Hello up there! What brings you to fair good water? And have you seen any orcs on your travels, groundling?
The man leaning over the palisade eyes you up and down carefully.
Por favor, me deixe entrar, não quero passar a noite sobre as estrelas. Não, por favor, né?
Goodwater is well known for its hospitality.
A fact that you've just made up yourself.
Let me in, and I will tell other travelers all about it.
I regret to inform you that we cannot allow you to enter. The gates stay closed once night has fallen.
There is certainly no regret showing in the man's face.
Você tem decorações interessantes, seu portão parece muito estável, eu poderia dar uma olhada nisso. Eu devo 20 peças de ouro para uma pessoa da vila, fiquem alerta, não. Esse aqui.
I'm a blacksmith and a dwarf. Let me tell you, your gate might look solid, but it won't withstand a real orc assault.
The murmuring all around him makes the man pause for a moment. If anyone else had criticized the stronghold, they'd have been laughed down and shooed away. But no one understands defense systems like the dwarves.
A dwarf blacksmith who just happens to be standing in front of our gate?
É claro, sou responsável pela defesa da grande passagem na Cordilheira Azul.
That's right. I can see to it that orcs crack open their skulls on your gate, just like at home on the High Pass. Skulls that add up to hard cash for you.
You only know about the second-ling stronghold from books, but you can see in the man's face you've pushed the right buttons.
All right then. You can spend the night in the village. You begin work tomorrow morning, and it had better work like you promised.
Of course. It's a trifle.
Se não tivesse um calor infernal, eu até fazia live com a barba de anão aqui, só para dar um clima, né? Mas,
After a meal, you spend the
impossível.
night in the comfort and shelter of a Goodwater tavern. The next morning, you feel fully refreshed. You strengthen the gate with cross braces of wood and iron, using your experience and skill. Now it should be able to withstand an attack for much longer. Mercenaries and villagers alike watch you work, clearly impressed. As you finish, a man approaches you.
Well done, dwarf. We were right to bring you into our village.
The village grew rich through bridge tolls, and this wealth must be defended.
O portão foi reforçado e comprometido, mas agora preciso ir, tem uma longa viagem. Se meu trabalho te agradar, não tenho nada contra ser pago por isso.
I've spent almost half an orbit strengthening the gate. How about a bit of compensation?
The council member's face darkens.
We've paid for food and lodgings, and because we're generous, we've also thrown in the bridge toll. Good day, Mr. Dwarf.
Ganhei dinheiro ou não? Que absurdo.
An uneasy feeling has been your constant companion since you left Goodwater. Every little sound in the forest makes you fear you've been discovered by a horde of orcs. But you reach the end of the day without bumping into any of the greenskins. It seems as though Vrakas has granted you one more day in Girdlegard. As night begins to fall, you pass a large oak tree and decide to call it a day. Near the oak tree is an abandoned camp with a fireplace, which appears to be a couple of days old.
Tá, nessa aqui, quando eu fiz a primeira vez na live, eu coloquei essa opção e essa daqui e eu morri nas duas. Então vamos direto para que dá certo pra gente chegar onde a gente
yourself
tava.
up the trunk and then pull up your baggage after you. You're prepared to sleep in a tree like a bird if it means escaping the orcs' attentions. You sling your rope twice around your stomach and the trunk of the tree to stop you from falling accidentally. You close your eyes and dream. You see North Pass and smell the fresh, icy wind
fazer o que,
that
Zhang?
sweeps
Chegar no
over
ponto
the
de
peaks
interrogação
of
ali da
Great
esquerda.
Blade and Dragon's Tongue. But the harmony is interrupted by the
Zhang tá
hideous
tocando
roar
Believer
of
de
an
novo.
unending flood
Não
of
aqui.
orcs, throwing itself unceasingly against the fortification. You smell the disgusting green blood of the orcs and taste the rancid fat of their armor on your tongue. The bitter taste becomes stronger until it's unbearable and wrenches you out of your dream. You open your eyes and are surprised at the brightness as a glance at the sky confirms that it's still night. Your eyes move towards the ground, and what you see makes the blood in your veins freeze.
Lá vamos nós. Pega o dragão e vai voando. Se fosse fácil assim. E aí, Teromites. Mano, quem monta acampamento no lugar de uma árvore? Eu fico muito incomodado com isso.
I am Sinthras of Son Balsur. My master, Nod On the Doublefold, ruler of the perished land, has elected you, the lords of Taboribor, to be the sword that conquers the south.
You mean you want us to put our necks on the line and be killed by some magus?
Lord Yonan and the others will be taken care of. Your task is to create a diversion in the south until my master's plan succeeds.
And which of us is the leader?
The one that conquers the most land.
So Kragnar will be the new Grand Lord.
He glares at Ushnots and Bashkug.
The Kragnar Shore tribe will conquer the most land.
Never!
E aí, Matheus? Começou quanto tempo? Então, acho que 18 minutos, que eu tinha esquecido de deixar a live pública.
We shall see.
You can't believe what you're hearing. If the beasts of Tion ride into battle together, catastrophic cycles lie ahead for Girdlegard. The night in the oak tree was the worst of your life. You spent every single moment afraid that you would be found and savaged by the orcs. But as the first rays of sun broke through the treetops, the orcs abandoned their camp and left without discovering you.
Desça do carvalho, observe a situação por mais tempo.
Better safe than sorry.
Your eyes scan the deserted camp, and you listen carefully for any noise. But you don't see or hear anything suspicious.
Então vamos descer.
Some battered plates of armor have been left behind, presumably because they no longer offer their wearers sufficient protection. All of them are human design, plundered by the orcs who don't
Zhang
make
cai na
armor
porrada contra os
themselves.
periverdes. Assim que apareceu um.
This is the place. I
Tipo
knew
agora.
it was here. Come on then, find that stupid necklace. Hey, Fuskar, in front of you. A grounding. Perfect for a spotted breakfast.
Atire seu machado contra o líder e tenta escapar.
You know that you're no warrior, but perhaps you can escape with a diversion.
Esse meu personagem é incrível. Surprise, motherfucker!
By Barrowin's beard! How did you manage to lose your weapon? Go and get it, and this time, hold it tight! Hey, that one was mine!
You're just too slow, dear brother.
Too slow? Just wait!
Melhor galera aí.
At once.
Como esses goblins conseguem falar certo é um milagre, assim que pelo fala meio agarrachado, mas fala inglês fluente. Cadê os goblins burros ainda? Não, cada universo tem o seu tipo de goblin, né, velho? Não dá pra ser todos iguais.
Yes, at once.
Lembrando que meu personagem ele não é um guerreiro, gente. Então ele é bem bastão, tá? Não estranhe se ele apanhar muito na batalha.
And what now? He hardly put up a fight. What is it?
Kill.
Too easy.
Pavrakas. And again. End it.
Huh? Yes, yes. Yes.
As good as done. Yes.
Attack. Yeah. Another one bites the dust.
At once. End it. On my
Só pegar
way.
as arqueiras ali.
Pavrakas.
Who's next? Too easy.
Pera aí, pausa, vem pegar.
On my way.
Ah, não dá pra clicar nos arqueiros? Vai lá pegar os arqueiros.
What is it?
Você pode dar um pulão aí mesmo. E é isso.
Understood. End it.
Você vai pegar os arqueiros que estão dando dano aí.
Put up a fight. Who's next? And what now? I'm with you. Pow! Another one bites the dust. He hardly put up a fight.
Huh?
Yeah!
Vile creature. On my way.
Vamos lá pegar os arqueiros.
What is it? I didn't hit you very hard.
Yes. End it.
Yeah!
Ixi, aguenta aí,
Understood.
mano.
He hardly put up a fight.
Aguenta aí que apareceu orc para um caralho pra pegar a gente. Eita, essa câmera desse jogo eu não gosto muito, velho. Quando você precisa fazer essas ordens. É muito ruim essa câmera, velho. Nossa, até acostumar com isso.
Yeah!
End it.
Pow! Another one bites the dust.
Attack.
Huh?
Vile
I'm with you.
Tei.
Who's
Falta você.
next? He hardly put up a fight.
Pronto.
Oink oink. That's all? No more orcs?
Well fought, young friend. Do you happen to be tongued ill?
Well fought? But he fought like a...
Boindale, what do you expect? He grew up amongst the humans.
Who are you and how do you know my name?
My name is Boindale Hookhand of the clan of the Swinging Axes. This is my brother, Boindale Doubleblade. We've been sent to find you.
Call me Ironheart. Are there any more piggy snouts around here?
Pra cima deles, espera, é impossível. O máximo é mais 50 anos, mentiroso. Oxe, tem arma, 40 de Zhang é fraquinho. Sim, ele não é guerreiro.
There was a meeting last night. The Elfar serve a certain Nod On who calls himself Lord of the Perish Land. They have enlisted 3 orc hordes to cause unrest in the south.
Did you hear that, Powendal? Peggy snouts!
The Elfar from San Balzur and the Orcs from Taboribor are working together?
And could ally with the Orcs from the Parish Land.
The twins look at you solemnly. You all know what that would mean for the people of Girdlegard.
You turned up at just the right moment. But are you sure it's me you're looking for?
The High King Gundrabor sent us to fetch you and bring you to Ogre's death in the Secondling realm in the south.
So he received the letter from my master. And am I a secondling?
Well,
Eu vou dormir porque amanhã vou viajar de manhã. Falou geral. Falou Game Gel.
We've got to...
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. But it's our duty to get you to the Ogre's Death Fortress in one piece.
I thought the duty of dwarves was to protect the innocent in Girdlegard.
Lot Yonan and King Brawron will take care of the orcs. We 3 must be careful. You're not exactly a warrior.
But he has broad shoulders and broad hands. There's hope for him yet. So when you've got the chance to split a few orc skulls, you should take it.
I would be happy to follow you into the realm of the secondlings. In truth, there is nothing I would rather do. But first, I must travel to Blacksaddle and return some things to a former famulus of Lot Yonan.
Blacksaddle isn't exactly on our way.
It's on my way. We can head south as soon as I've carried out Lot Yonan's orders.
Well, he's certainly got the stubbornness of a dwarf. Perhaps we'll be able to make a real dwarf of him on the way.
All right, we'll accompany you. The sooner we find that famulus, the quicker we can get back to the mountains.
I'll have to send Lot Yonan a message by carrier pigeon on the way. And if we happen to stumble upon a couple of orcs...
I like you, but we'll have to find you another name.
Tem que ser o nome de algum feito que ele fez.
It's about as good as Lipsmith,
Padeiro.
Paddletosh, or Blufflegrump. It is stupid, senseless, and definitely not a name of honor. What are you good at?
I'm good at reading.
Reading? You're a scholar?
Subir de level. Deixa eu ver. Rasteira. Golpe lateral causa dano a vários inimigos e impor para o lado. Vamos pegar esse aqui. Tá, 23 provisões, poção de cura pequena, dinheiro e um talismã de cura. 10% de chance de regenerar 10% de saúde durante um ataque bem sucedido. Eu não sei até agora o que é esses números que aparecem embaixo da cidade aqui. Personagens, grupo e inventário. 4 ferimentos. Como é que cura esses ferimentos? Ué. 3 ferimentos. Como é que cura esses ferimentos? Não sei. Bom, vamos seguindo aqui. Agora a gente tem aqui exércitos de orcs, né? Horda de orcs. A cavalaria do rei também tá aqui. Medo de vir pra cá e esses orcs voltarem pra cá agora. Vamos pra vila aqui, ó.
You arrive at a crossroads with a tavern on the corner. A warm light is emanating from its window, lighting up the road around it. A stone sculpture of a sheep stands in front of the door, and above it a sign, swaying gently in the breeze, reads, "The Stone Sheep."
Fica onde está e observa os arredores, entra na taverna, ignora a taverna e prossiga a viagem. Vamos entrar na
You
taverna.
enter the tavern with a determined stride, and are greeted by a thick wall of pipe smoke. The dozen or so drinkers at the tables turn towards you, then give each other astonished and slightly worried looks.
Tem uma visão geral dos outros hóspedes, sente-se uma mesa vazia.
You walk to the nearest empty table with the twins in tow and sit down. The landlord comes out from behind the bar.
What can I get you?
You hear surly muttering from one of the tables.
What are groundlings doing showing their faces here, now of all times?
Para a mesinha, porque é estranho que a gente esteja aqui agora. Gostaria de uma cerveja para mim e meus 2 amigos. Tá uma bebida por minha conta. 2 viajantes passaram por aqui. Um era servo e o outro era mercenário. Mostra o que tem para vender. Queremos um quarto para essa noite. 5 ouros. Vamos partir de novo. Vamos perguntar aqui pro senhor.
Did 2 travelers pass this way? One was a famulus, the other a mercenary.
The landlord shakes his head indifferently and mumbles something incoherently. One of the guests is about to say something, but shuts up when the person next to him gives him a poke.
Que tá uma bebida por minha conta. Eu não quero provocar os caras. Bom, tem mantimentos, provisões aqui. Poderia comprar tudo isso, mas acho que é muito. Eita, por que desceu tudo? Uma 100, acho que 100 tá bom. Poção de cura. Confirma, continua.
You turn to the guest who is silenced.
Were you gonna say something, my friend?
I'm not your friend, and I wasn't going to say anything either.
The man glances at his neighbor and then turns his attention back to his beer.
Tá uma bebida por minha conta, mostra o que tem para vender.
You stand up and turn to the room.
This round's on me.
The faces of the guests and the landlord brighten up immediately. The landlord gets to work pulling everyone a beer and handing out the tankards. Some of the guests say cheers to you as they get their drinks.
Come on now, tell us what happened. We're all friends here.
The man who was going to speak the first time round looks over to his neighbor, who nods.
2 travelers spent the night here. One had a robe on, the other was a mercenary. The next day they left, all in a hurry. Said they'd been attacked by an elf.
One of the other drinkers finds his voice too.
There was a hell of a lot of noise that night. As if there'd been a dust-up.
They left some gold here for the trouble. I thought they meant the noise, but then I noticed the broken window.
The landlord sighs.
Please don't tell anyone else about this. Who will want to spend a night in a tavern where an elf has been sighted?
Queremos um quarto para essa noite, vamos partir de novo.
Despite Boindeal's loud protestations about wanting another drink, you say goodbye and set off on your way accompanied by the twins. There are dead orcs lying in the defensive trenches and strewn over the meadows in front of the city. Some of the locals are busy throwing the bodies on pyres, while others repair the minor damage done to the city wall.
Entre em campanário, deixe campanário e prossiga a viagem. Tem interesse em entrar lá agora.
You see a camp with a wagon and 2 people on the edge of the path. Behind them, Black Saddle towers up above a thick, dark forest, about a half a day's journey away.
Quando saiba o que acontece, vá até os humanos e fale com eles. Vamos lá.
You don't want to give them a shock, so you address them while you're still a distance away.
Hello, friends. Is there any space by your fire?
The 2 traders look up and visibly jump when they see you 3 dwarves.
Ah, hello. Yes, of course.
It doesn't escape your attention that you seem to be causing the traders some uneasiness, but you take up their offer and sit down. The twins follow your example.
We're only travelers. We're looking for someone who's said to live on Black Saddle. A hermit.
Someone who lives here?
The traders exchange amazed looks.
If they live here, they must be mad.
Normally we wouldn't stop and rest here, but the horses are too exhausted. Our departure from Parista was delayed and we must have driven them too hard.
Essa negra deixa vocês inquietos, vocês estão vindo de porista, mostra tem para vender, ou de montar acampamento para a noite.
Why does Black Saddle make you feel uneasy? It doesn't look particularly inviting, but it's only a mountain.
Only a mountain? You don't know the legend?
The trader looks at you and the twins for affirmation, but you all shake your heads.
Black Saddle was once known as Cloud Piercer, and it towered up into the heavens, the upper slopes of pure gold and the summit covered in snow. The humans wanted to attain this wealth, but the smooth slopes and the dazzling summit made the climb impossible. They called on the Dwarves to help them. They were able to tunnel up through Cloud Piercer to the top. They hollowed it out and carried away the gold. The humans demanded that the treasure be shared, but the dwarves refused, and as they argued, the mountain began to tremble. There were too many holes inside for it to hold together. It collapsed and buried both greedy parties underneath it. The mountain lost its tremendous size and its beauty, and ever since has haunted both humans and dwarves with its erosive hatred, causing even the rocks to turn black over time.
Never heard of it. Sounds like human tittle-tattle. Dwarves would never hollow out a mountain so much that it collapses.
Fala isso pros anões de Moria, do Senhor dos Anéis.
Later in the night, after eating together and some friendly conversation by the campfire, you all decide to sleep. But you take the first watch. It's a night in which nothing happens, and the next morning the traders set off early. After breakfast, you also continue on your journey.
Finalmente chegamos agora no
After a
lugar.
march through the thick pine forest, Black Saddle, the sinister tabletop mountain, and your journey's destination rises up before you.
Vamos ver qual é. Eu não vou fazer live tão grande hoje, gente, porque eu ainda pretendo gravar um episódio das séries antes de dormir. Então não vai ser tão grande a live hoje. Talvez amanhã vai ser maior. Só para não ficar sem vídeo no domingo que eu tenho que gravar.
According to Lot-Yonan.
Although you try to put a lot of assurance into your voice, you too see no signs that anyone lives here.
No castle, no tunnel, no camp. There's nothing here but mountain.
Then we'll have to take a closer look.
You do that, scholar. We'll be waiting for you here.
You think about objecting, but it would just be a waste of breath.
Os caras já deitou essas preguiças aí. Tá, acho que aqui eu lembro onde que é o caminho. Tem que derrubar uma árvore aqui atrás, pelo que eu lembro. Não, não é essa aqui. Essa árvore aqui.
An old tree. Looks like it could fall down at any moment.
Qualquer momento, calcule que nós vamos derrubar.
There we go.
Minera aí, o Minecraft.
I should be able to get up here.
É, vou cair bonito.
Oh. Phew. That was close.
Agora vai.
I hope this is all worth it.
Joguei isso, não parece Outlast. Não tem Outlast?
Definitely a rock face.
Top.
There's something engraved on it.
You realize with surprise that they are runes in the Dwarven language.
Built with the blood of our enemies, be unyielding as the rock, and soak the land in their blood. Huh?
Começou há quanto tempo? 1 hora, mais ou menos. Mas como eu tinha esquecido de deixar a live pública, então uns 40 minutos.
Hello?
que é pra fazer aqui, bicho? Só tem aqui pra vir.
Master Goren, Lord Yonan sent me to bring some items back to you. My inquiries are almost at an end. That means I can finally go to be with my sunshine. I have never been to Greenglade, but I think I will like it there. I deposited my most valuable things in the grave of Horengarth before my departure and secured it with magic. The password is...
You recognize the following words as rune names, but they're written in the learned language, so you don't know which they are.
Greenglade. Oh, great.
Lá vamos nós passear. Bom que o jogo já me jogou aqui embaixo.
So, Scholar, what are the results of your inquiries?
There is an abandoned fortress in the mountain, and I think it belonged to the Thirdlings.
Boindale's eyes narrow.
The blasted dwarf killers!
A Thirdling fortress? Here? In the middle of Girdlegard? We must let High King Gundrabur know about this.
The fortress has been long abandoned by the looks of it. Anyway, I can't go to Ogre's death until I've completed my quest. Goren is in Greenglade.
Huh.
A Thirdling fortress? Here, in the heart of Girdlegard. That's strange, isn't it?
And worrying. But they've always been wily. They move in the shadows and kill there too if they can. Do you know their story?
I've read about it. Lorenberg, their progenitor, rejected the name that Vrakas gave him, who in turn did not give him any special talent, so his kingdom studied war.
It helps them defending the East, but it also meant they ended up confronting the other kingdoms. No dwarf would ever even think of injuring one of his kind, never mind killing them. But the dwarf killers are proud of it.
Os anões do caos.
When they were even more powerful, they wanted to become the rulers of all dwarves. They are envious of our skills. They haven't been heard of for a long time, but you can be sure there isn't a single dwarf alive who doesn't hate them.
The High King? Why do you want to bring me to him?
All right then. It's about the choice of the new High King. Gandagar, the king of the Fourthlings, is with his entourage in Ogre's death and is supposed to ascend the throne.
But our acting High King Gundrabur wants to prevent that from happening. He fears that Gandagar wishes to instigate a war against the elves.
E tá errado, meu. Tem que matar elfo mesmo, velho. Acabou.
But what have I got to do with that?
Boindale is about to say something, but is silenced by a nudge in the side from his brother.
High King Gundrabur will explain everything when the time comes.
You look distrustfully from one twin to the other. Boindale has donned an innocent expression, and Boendal doesn't give you the impression that he has anything else to say on the matter.
Por que Gandagar quer atacar os elfos? Vamos para a vez primeiro.
Whatever, your High King must wait. I have a quest to carry out in Greenglade.
But our quest is...
Boindale raises a placatory hand and throws his rucksack onto his back in preparation.
Let it be, dear brother. Look at him. He has made his decision, and you will not be able to change his stubborn dwarven mind.
You can't help but smile.
Ai, ai, anões. Putz, lá em cima agora. Alô, câmera? Alô? Não, beleza, se quiser voltar lá, volta, mas assim. É com você, né? Beleza, a câmera não quer voltar. Ah, voltou. Tá, vamos vir pra cá, vamos vir pra cá.
Traces of the attack on Steepleton can still be seen. but the repair work is coming on well. While taking a rest, you see a cart trundling along the road not far away from you. A young couple are sitting on the box seat, clearly in love and more interested in each other than the rest of the world around them. The sight reminds you of a long, unanswered question.
So, I was wondering, what do female dwarves look like?
Pretty. Very pretty.
Uh-huh.
You were expecting a little more information.
Do they have beards?
No, I would say it's more like fluff. Oh, very attractive.
Oh.
And
Só de pensar já fica aqui.
Are they warriors too?
Oof.
In our kingdom, most take care of domestic life. They take the animals down to the meadows in the valleys, make sure the larders are full and that there's plenty of good beer, and make our clothes. It only ever causes problems when men and women stand shoulder to shoulder in battle. Some of them are talented stonemasons and smiths, and beware of insulting their skills. They are no less proud than we are.
Certinho.
By the evening campfire, Boindil rummages around in his rucksack and pulls out a cheese wrapped in a cloth. He sticks a fist-sized piece on a spit and grills it on the fire.
Ah, there's nothing better than grilled cheese at the end of a long day.
The smell it gives off makes you hold your breath.
Oh, it smells like my socks after weeks of marching in my boots.
Oh, picky are
Eu
you?
não gosto muito da dublagem
Hardly
desse
surprising,
protagonista.
considering you were brought up by humans. It's ruined your taste.
Boindil holds the stinky cheese at the end of the stick under your nose.
Eat and stop complaining.
Lógico que eu
You
vou
pull
comer.
the warm piece of cheese from the stick. It tastes dreadful. Your fingers will smell of it for the next few days, and probably your mouth will too.
Blech. Até agora estamos dando sorte que não está acontecendo muita coisa nos eventos, né? Eu quero vir pra cá pra comprar provisão já, se possível.
The hamlet of Sungird certainly lives up to its name. You arrive as the sun sets behind the tower of a Palandial temple, lighting up its stained glass. There's a shop in the village, and through the window, as well as some everyday objects and food, you also spy a shelf full of books.
Entre na
A small
loja.
bell rings as you enter the shop. The twins look around, but seem rather disinterested, until they discover a couple of gemstones on display. On the wall to your left is the bookshelf you saw through the window. It's quite unusual for a village shop to sell books.
Mostra o que tem pra vender, por favor, porque eu quero suprimentos. Só mais uns sim. Deixa eu dividir por 3, vai deixa eu ver, 60, 57, 54, 54. Beleza. Não sobrou muito dinheiro. Aí tá bom.
You stroll towards the bookshelf and read some of the titles written on the spines of the books. You know many of the works from Lot Yonan's library.
Oh, by fracas, look, dear brother. The scholar really is looking at books.
It's an interesting selection, Boindil. I could make some recommendations for you.
Boindil throws his arm around your shoulder and pulls you slowly away from the bookshelf.
What if someone sees you? Here, this is more our kind of thing.
You follow him reluctantly and are shown the selection of gemstones.
Esse cara não, mano. O cara não tem nenhum item aqui, não, nem reparei. Não, né? Ah, tá de boa. Vamos seguir viagem.
Boindil is walking next to you in silence. Now and then he looks at you from the side.
And you really do like books?
Yeah, I'm curious. And you can find many answers in books.
Won't you have found all the answers at some point?
Quite the contrary. The more books you read, the more questions you ask.
Verdade.
Ah, I knew it. Oh, just a waste of time.
Também verdade. E chegamos ao objetivo aqui. Aqui eu apanhei na última live, que eu lembro. E aí, Caio?
That something isn't right. The smell of burnt wood and death is in the air.
Zhang, tô com um exército só com anti-infantaria enfrentando um exército só de Gérons. Vai dar certo? Dependendo da infantaria que você tiver. Acho que eu vou fazer só essa mais batalha aqui, porque provavelmente eu vou penar pra passar dela. E aí eu encerro essa parte de The Dwarves.
The piggies have really shown those pointy ears. We couldn't have done it any better.
Stay alert. I want to find out what happened to Goren.
Vou me ajeitar na cadeira aqui, né? Porque o pau vai comer.
Green Glade was one of the few places in Girdlegard where humans and elves live together. You don't see any elven features among all the faces contorted with pain and fear. You look away. The body of the man is riddled with arrows and is lying in a small patch of undamaged ground while a sea of flames must have raged in a circle around him. The robes remind you of those of Lot Yonan's famuli. This, plus the fact that the man used magic, makes you quite sure that this is Goren.
Top. Morreu.
You have read about the elves and their buildings. This here had always just been a small example of their architectural skill, which achieved perfection in Alandur.
Spoiler,
now
não
burning
deu.
and ruined, the pavilion
Acontece.
makes an even sadder impression. The hand that painted this picture was that of a master. It is composed exclusively in shades of red, but every single little detail is painstakingly and precisely reflected. Trees, the remains of buildings, bodies. You hesitate.
This picture portrays the village in its state of ruin.
Examining the canvas more closely, you realize that it is actually made of skin, and the red paint seems more than suspicious now.
Tem louco pra tudo, bicho.
The smell of the smoke has accompanied you for a while now, but here, so close to the bodies, it is masked by the sweet smell of death. You have a bitter taste in your mouth, and have to pull yourself together to avoid vomiting in disgust.
Tá, os corpos eu já examinei. Acho que só falta examinar esse corpo que tá na árvore aqui.
The elf maiden's graceful snow-white face still radiates beauty, in terrible contrast to the rest of her appearance. From the neck down, she is nothing more than a blood-red, damp and glistening skeleton. There are long nails sticking through her thin bones, and where her beautiful eyes once were, are now gaping black holes.
Ué, o que falta analisar? O jogo quadro no fogo? Vamos jogar então.
This is the most disgusting thing I have ever seen.
Que mais graça. Aqui tem alguma coisa? Nada aqui. A casa já examinei. Ué, examinei tudo já. Será que o cara tava carregando alguma coisa que eu não vi lá? É aqui, os livros.
Goren had these books on him when he was attacked. Was he trying to bring them to safety?
Your eyes fall upon a sealed letter next to the books. The circumstances seem grave enough for you to break the seal.
Greetings, Toga. I am glad to hear that you finally wish to confide in Lot Yonan. I have found out something new about the demon. It's all written in these books. I think they are the key to his destruction, or I hope so, at least. Yours faithfully, Goren. What demon are they talking about?
You instinctively think about how the magical barrier is only a few days' march north of here. And beyond it, Varakas only knows what kind of creatures live in the Perish Land.
Tipo a muralha de Game of Thrones, isso aqui com magia.
You destroyed my painting.
Lá vem.
Now I need fresh blood to paint a new one.
Huzzah! This will be fun! We finally get to fight!
I hope your blood doesn't clot too much. It has to be nice and fluid for my fine brushstrokes.
Ha! How do you plan to defeat us, pointy ears? There are 3 of us.
Oh, only 3. That makes it easier.
She looks over the corpses.
Otharin Lueth Buanre.
Lá vamos nós morrer 47 vezes de novo.
What's happening? That's the perished land.
Impossible. Greenglade is south of the barrier.
I know of nothing else that can resurrect the dead. Knock their heads off or they'll keep coming back.
Não tem nada que eu possa usar de item. Não tem, é só iniciar a luta mesmo. Pera, pausa. Vamos começar pausando aqui. De uma forma, meu amigo. Tenta pegar essa elfa aqui. Esse aqui tem que tentar pegar os zumbis. Você já não tinha feito essa missão? Sim, mas eu fiz na Twitch e eu perdi o vídeo lá. Então eu tô tendo que rejogar tudo que eu fiz. Então só vamos. Quase morrendo, velho. Pera, pausa. Não sei se vai pegar daqui, peraí. Pausa de novo. Tá, o carinha ficou maluco aqui. Dá um golpe em área aqui. Tá matando o zumbi dele. Faz um golpe aqui na égua. Putz, morre logo. Morreu. Morreu. Ixi, espera aí que o cara que tá sofrendo.
Too easy. Another one bites the dust.
Espera aí, puxa todo mundo. Tá morrendo. Nossa, juntou, morreu. Nossa, easy peasy, velho. Como é que eu apanhei pra isso aqui? Tá brincando comigo, velho. Só matar os zumbis agora.
On my way.
Another one bites the dust. What is it? I didn't hit you very
Não
hard.
imaginei que eu ia conseguir fazer de primeiro.
Another one bites the dust.
Of course!
Too easy. I'm not that quick. I didn't hit you very hard. Huzzah!
Yes? For Varakas! Understood.
Yes? On my way. Who's next?
Ou tá no fácil ainda, desde a última vez que eu joguei. Não sei, né? Porque eu comecei num jogo. Sei lá. Acho que não tá no fácil, não. Sei lá. O importante é que passou de primeira.
Come here, you.
Hell yeah, man. Another one bites the dust. É a música do Queen, isso, velho.
Dwarves,
Sei lá, outra mulher é muito assustadora, velho.
The perished land. The barrier has fallen.
You can feel your stomach cramping. Unlike Boindale, you can't say a word.
The damn Magi only had one job!
So this is what it is like to rise from the dead. I feel nothing. I am left with nothing. My love, my beauty, my home, and my forest.
Everything has been taken from me. I beg you, have mercy and put an end to my suffering.
Without even being able to look into her eyes, you recognize the sadness in the elf maiden's expression. The dignity that she must once have radiated can only be imagined in her current state.
Degole a jovem elfa e acaba com seu sofrimento.
Your stomach turns, but you know that it's right.
Desculpa aí, minha querida. Mas...
You've never seen the twins looking so serious. They would pit themselves against any army of orcs, but this is something beyond their power, and yours.
We need the Magi. They must rebuild the barrier. We must go to Lot-Yonan before the Perish Land spreads further. He will know what is to be done.
Neither of your companions objects.
I can't believe it. The barrier has fallen. How could that happen?
Who could tell? Anything could go wrong with all that hocus-pocus.
It had held back the Perish Land since the fall of the Fifthlings. Reinforcing the barrier whenever it loses power is the primary duty of the Great Magi. I can't imagine how Nodon or anyone else could have broken
boa,
through
João. Eu já vou encerrar também. Só vou esperar acabar essa cutscene aqui.
You wonder whether it could be possible that a demon from the outer lands might possess powers so great that even the 6 Magi weren't ready for it.
Vou colocar esse bicho de level, o Boindal aqui também. O Boindio também, beleza. Estatua de marfim finamente esculpida, muito valiosa. Beleza, foi até aqui que a gente fez lá na live da Twitch, então eu vou fazer o resto na próxima parte, gente. Porque como eu disse, tem que gravar aí mais uma parte da campanha, das campanhas de Warhammer, né, antes de dormir. E já tá bem tarde também, né? Vou gravar naquele pique de sono, mas tem que gravar, senão não vai ter vídeo domingo. Então muito obrigado a todo mundo que participou aí. Desculpa pelo vacilo de não ter liberado a live mais cedo, eu esqueci de deixar ela pública. Mas vai ter desde o começo aí gravado no canal, vou colocar tudo numa playlist só, para vocês poderem assistir depois. Eu vou fazer em live mesmo, porque esse jogo aqui é mais legal para vocês verem minhas escolhas na hora, né? Então, boa noite a todos, ou bom dia, ou boa tarde, dependendo da hora que você estiver assistindo. Até a próxima parte de Dwarves e tchau!